Welcome back to the Top 6 show. It's Monday. It's 5 p.m. Get that like button hit. Make sure you are subscribing. Get that bell notification button turned on as well. Loads to talk through. Loads to go through. Big transfer stories. Football being back as well, with Crystal Palace picking up the first bit of silverware of the season, beating £400 million spending Liverpool in the English Super Cup. As we saw yesterday, we're looking a little bit ahead because there's big news surrounding the Super Cup as well, with Donnarumma very heavily linked to Manchester United. He has been excluded from the match day squad. He will not be going to the Super Cup, furthering his chances of a exit this summer. We're talking Man City, who have come alive. They've come alive again in the transfer window, selling Jack Grealish, or loaning out Jack Grealish with an option to buy, plus Savinho, to Tottenham, advancing. But they're now making a play, not just, by the way, for Rodrygo. City are also making a play and a move, potentially, for Chelsea target Xavi as well. So we're talking about that. Of course, we're going to touch on Baleba and Donnarumma potentially going to Manchester United as well. But I did want to start with the Rodrygo news that broke earlier on today, and that is that Manchester City are looking to enter that race. I'm just going to read out what was said here if and when I can find it again. It seems to have disappeared slightly. But here it is. It says that Manchester City are eyeing a move for Real Madrid's Rodrygo. He won't come cheap, but City see him as a key addition to strengthen their forward line. A fee being demanded, according to Fabrizio, is €100 million. Kwess, what do you make of this approach from City? Grealish going, Savinho going, but the replacement potentially being Rodrygo.
This is why I always say, when it comes to City, man, fear City at all costs, because it doesn't matter what they go through. The minute they got the opportunity to add some firepower to their ranks, they're going to do it. This is sickening. This is hurtful. This is scary. Frankly, I'm on edge. And if we hadn't got Maresca and the beautiful blue boys right now, I would be worried about this league title. Seriously. Rodrygo's a significant upgrade on the wingers they have now. Despite, I think, Doku being a seriously effective wing in the league, I really do think he is. I think Rodrygo is just that cut above. And I think them doing the Grealish deal, it kind of gets the people Pep wants gone out the way and gets in some people that are hungry. So, yeah, I know everyone's talking about Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool, but boy, City look like they're back with a vengeance and they want it back in blood, man. So it's gonna be interesting for sure.
How do you see it, Tom? Because obviously you guys have been praised, and rightfully so, for what has been a very good summer so far for Liverpool. But going after one of the best players at Real Madrid, someone that we're all a little bit shocked Real Madrid want to let him go. He'd been linked to Liverpool, and a lot of people said Liverpool get him titles over. If Arsenal get him, they might win the league. But Man City signing him, does that send a little bit of fear through you as a Liverpool fan?
There's just a little bit about me that's confused by it. Don't get me wrong, I think Rodrygo is a very good footballer, and if you put him with Erling Haaland in the same team, it guarantees goals. But it's the who's out, who's in part that's slightly confusing to me. In my mind, City's attack was pretty set this season. They had Marmoush and Doku for the left, and they had Foden and Savio for the right. And on either side, they had that typical winger who gets down the line, beats his fullback, can put a crossing, can put a delivery in, and they had their inside forward type, the ones who like to sit a little bit narrower, play off the striker, get their goals, get their assists. Selling Savio was a shock for me, which is the first things. I actually thought he was quite good last season. And then Rodrygo as his replacement, it's not the same type of player. Rodrygo needs, at this point in his career, to go off the left-hand side. He has to be. You can't keep putting him on the right. You waste too much of his talent on the right. So Rodrygo has to go on the left. But that's the same side as Marmoush. and it's the same side as Doku. So one of them might be missing out on game time. Now, I'm not going to doubt Pep Guardiola here. Pep Guardiola is the best manager on the planet, and he'll find a way to figure it out. But just from the outside looking in, I don't get the swap if it's the case. Now, maybe who's that young lad they had, the Norwegian fella who broke his leg, who was supposed
Oscar
to be
Bob.
Oscar Bob. Now, maybe Oscar Bob is coming in to replace Savio, and he's developed far enough to where he's not looking at it as a direct like for like. But still, I have the questions about the fit on the left-hand side. Logically, very dangerous. We're talking about a Foden, Haaland, Rodrygo front three potentially. That guarantees goals. That guarantees a lot of them, not just goals, a lot of goals. And there is a bit. I mean, it's a bit like, oh god, are they now like? Is Pep seeing his Arsenal's now pulling it out now, getting all these mega stars back in so we can nail it again? Because I've been one of the ones who I said I'm a little bit more worried about City than most because what they have in Erling Haaland is a game breaker, someone who can get 40 goals a season. And as much as the whole thing is attack wins your games, defense wins your titles, it's very rare that the team that has a bad attack wins the league. You know, it's more often than not the highest goal scorers that your league champions come the end of the season. So if they're adding Rodrygo, who I believe in his position in the correct team can get you 20, 25 plus goals, alongside Erling Haaland, who can get you 40 plus, alongside a Foden, who at one point in his career showed he can get 20 plus, we're talking about a hell of a lot of goals here. And I think anyone who has a title hope should be looking at that with a bit of a nervous sort of feeling. Me personally, just looking at it in terms of how I thought City were going to play, I'm just a bit shocked that it's Savio going and not Doku. Because I thought Savio's fit makes a lot more sense on the right.
So you would have got rid of Doku?
If Rodrygo's your guy, it just makes more sense for Doku to be the one to go. I don't think Doku's going to be a right, for one. I think Savio on the right was very dangerous. He reminded me a lot that the end product needed a bit of time to get figured out with him. But Savio had a lot of Mahrez about him. He had a lot of Riyad Mahrez mannerisms about him. Now, he wasn't there as the full package in the way Riyad Mahrez was. But when you'd watch Savio and you watch the way he played and you watch what he wanted to do with the football, I was seeing a lot of Mahrez. Doku was a very effective at beating his man. The end product, I have a big gripe with wingers who have low end product. And oh my God, Doku can be incredibly frustrating. Now, maybe this is the year where it kicks on and he finally figures it out. But I don't think it is. So I'm just looking at it going, who's the better player for that right-hand side? Because Rodrygo needs to be on the left at this point. The better player on the right-hand side is Savio. Now, that for me makes it that Savio should be the one that stays. Doku's the one that goes, and you have Rodrygo and you have Marmoush as your left-wing options. Now, the only thing that might be stepping in is the fact that Savio might have asked to go. He might have said to Pep, look, I'm not going to play enough. I want to go somewhere where I'm going to be the de facto number one option. So if there's a club that comes in for me, let me go there. In that case, everything I've said kind of is irrelevant because City won't ever not sell a player who wants to go. But just in an ideal world where City can have everyone happy, I think it made more sense for Doku to be the one to go than Savio, just based on where you're going to maximise the most out of Rodrygo.
Do you know what? Me personally, yeah, I just feel like I remember watching City last year, and I feel like I used to watch their games and be like, this Savinho guy's got a spark, right? But I just feel like he's too raw. And when I see Pep then utilize like Bernardo Silva on that side or Foden on that side, I kind of feel like I understand why, because the ball retention is far higher with those two players. Because they're sort of like midfielders converted into, not converted into wingers, but for that game, that's the job they've been doing.
They're safe, aren't they? They're safe out wide. You know, you can pass the ball through them and they're not going to try anything risky. They can pass it back to the midfielder if needs be, and you're not going to lose the ball. Whereas Doku and Savio, they're your wild cards in a sense.
Yeah.
Doku for me is just, I'm not a City fan, but I can imagine how frustrating he can be at times, because to be as good as he is at beating a man and to be as poor as he is after beating the man, it must be incredibly frustrating.
That's I feel like that's cold on Doku, because I feel like he's actually.
I saw last year I had a right back who couldn't defend at the best of times. Jeremy Doku dribbled past him 24 times across 90 minutes combined.
It's going to happen again.
But he did nothing after he dribbled past him the 24 times. 24 times he beat Trent on a dribble, and then 24 times he didn't pick out a teammate, he didn't create a chance. More often than not, he'd take a bit of a rash touch, a bit of a heavy touch, or he'd try and cut back. There was a lot of incorrect decision making. And if he was to correct that decision making, you're talking about one of the most threatening players in world football, because there's no winger who can beat a man like he is.
But can I ask you this, yeah?
Just,
can you name the last winger you've seen play for City that was effective at getting past? So Leroy, so because I was going to say Sterling, but when I think that's a very different Man City. So for me, I see the Doku issue, the Grealish issue, all as Pepper's coached this out of his wingers. So I'm kind of not surprised that Doku's not as lethal as Sterling was when he got the 20 goals in the season.
I don't think Sterling was lethal though. It's gonna sound weird, Dad. No, it's gonna sound weird.
You better take that back.
You know why it's weird?
No. So,
see, Liverpool players got that bias in them. It's okay. Let it go, bro. Let it go.
No, this is even without the natural hatred that I have.
You smiling, Tom?
No, it's just a case of Raheem Sterling wasn't this world-class finisher. He was very good at getting into the right spots.
Yeah,
a lot of his goals was a case of City doing really good interplay, fired it across the box, and Sterling, with his reading of the game, got in the right position. But it wasn't a case of I'd watch Raheem Sterling consistently and go, "Wow, what a finish that is!" Oh, I don't know how
you're right. You're right. His finishing wasn't because he had some time.
His numbers were there, but in terms of finishing, he wasn't. But I actually
think, but it also goes to show, doesn't it, that intelligence, like when he went to Chelsea. The way Chelsea you guys just weren't. It slightly declined, but he would be in those positions. You guys just weren't creating those opportunities. Now he isn't Cristiano Ronaldo in a wide position or Mo Salah that scores goals kind of out of nothing per se. He is someone that's there to essentially tap the ball into the back of the net. But at City, their system worked, but he was there. What I always find interesting is that players that have come in since him, you could argue, are better technically, better dribblers, actually better shooting and finishing from a technique perspective, but they don't get his numbers because they lack the one thing that Raheem Sterling was elite at, and it was the intelligence to know when to, because it's the timing, when to drift into that back post. You go too early, you're offside. You go too late, you're not there. You make it too obvious, you're going to be marked. He just had this knack of doing it. And when he went to Chelsea, I thought Chelsea would bring that out of him again. And it hasn't really happened. And even at Arsenal, they just weren't playing the football that would get the best out of him. And that's kind of gone now. Maybe that style of football's past it and everything else. But I don't know, man. Rodrygo just feels like a no-brainer. And there's a super chat here that says, Terry, do you recall when Arsenal were being mentioned, I stated that as much as I wanted Rodrygo at Liverpool, I expect him to end up at Real Madrid. Aiden, do you think, as per Kwess's point, do you think that Pep Guardiola may stifle Rodrygo rather than let him? Because the word coming from Brazil is that one of his frustrations at Real Madrid is that he has to do a lot of the dog work. He isn't able to express himself as much. He's played out of position. Could this also happen to him in this Manchester City team?
Absolutely. I think it's a bit 50-50 because obviously with Pep, he wants his players to work hard, but there's also players around who, if Rodrygo doesn't pick up slack, they can pick up slack with Bernardo Silva there, Rodrygo obviously coming back, Kovacic if he's fit. There's a lot of players that will be able to pick up the slack if Rodrygo doesn't, but obviously Pep is going to find a way to make sure Rodrygo can play on the left and also get the best out of him, because we've seen it with Pep multiple times. Obviously, like we were just talking about Sterling, when he went to Chelsea didn't get the best out of him. So Pep has this way of bringing in really good players and making them better. So being able to put Rodrygo in a position where he'll flourish and not having to do all the dog work like he did at Real Madrid.
Listen, let's be honest. I think Rodrygo could work at Man City. Listen, because that team runs an amazing system. But I think if Rodrygo thinks he's going to go there to have more expansion and more freedom, he's going to find out like everybody else has found out. Okay, ask Thierry Henry, he tried it too. Ibrahimovic, he found out too. When you go with Pep, you're going to be working. Okay, the team going to be working. He's going to choose one player maybe who's going to have the freedom, but it might not be necessarily you. So I think Rodrygo going to Man City will still be a great acquisition because of the fact that he has the backing of history in terms of playing at a high standard, winning games, not only games, but winning obviously trophies as well, right? So I think he'd be amazing at City. I just think the City's system has changed over the last few years. And of course, it's going to happen, right? Football changes, things happen. And that's why it came back to that debate about Sterling as well. It wasn't just that Sterling's great as a player, but it was also the system was actually suited for this type of football where they played almost without no striker. So it was a system that was built for everybody to get chip in some goals. You know what I'm saying to you? Whereas now they got a focal point. We've got Haaland being that focal point. I'm not saying that the players don't chip in, but it's drastically changed. And so in that particular system, I think Rodrygo will still fit it. I think he'll be an amazing player. I just don't think he's going to get that. I think he's going to be run up and down more than he realizes, right? He's going to be defended a lot more too, because we're also when you talk about I'm looking at that midfield and I'm going, I think Rodri is amazing, but after you do an injury like that, it can put some miles on you. You know what I mean?
And he's out. He's out again. It turns out he's been out since the Club World Cup.
What do you mean?
Have you not seen? Oh, so he got injured. Rodri got injured at the Club World Cup
end of September.
Yeah, and the injury is still out now, and they've only just confirmed it. They haven't said what it is. They've just said that he's had a setback. The fact for me, because they're saying it happened at the Club World Cup, because they're saying it's a setback, because they've delayed telling everyone. For me, it's his knee. I must say, he obviously hasn't done his knee again, because if he'd done his knee again, he'd be out for a long period of time. But I'm just starting to. I echo what you're saying, Kojo. I'm looking at it now and thinking, are we seeing the beginning of the end of Rodrygo in the Premier League potentially?
Because I often say with the ACL, they say even in your recovery period, once the other knee comes back, often what happens is you can injure the other knee very easily because of the amount of dependency you place on the knee that's working to strengthen the other one. That's mad.
Yeah, it's so true.
Man.
This here says disagree. Sterling got chances and was selfish, but he got his chances because of his hard work getting into the right position. And
the thing is, though, Sterling was very inconsistent at finishing. That for all the goals that he got, because I think he had this season where he got 20 goals in the Premier League once, which is top numbers. But how many games would there also be where you're watching him going, how's he missed that? I remember there's one that sticks vividly in my mind. Man United in the 17-18 season at home when they could have won the title against you. And you had about 4 one-on-ones that day and missed them all in separate ways.
Well, he still hasn't. He's not scored against United in his whole career. And that's also... it's crazy. And it's considering he's played for our 2 biggest rivals and Arsenal and Chelsea. He's actually played for our 4 biggest rivals and Premier League rivals and not scored a goal against us. It's
Pokemon badges.
Man. You know what? He's going to end up playing for like a really small club one day, 35, 36. And he'll score in that game, definitely. Football fans in 2025, if you perform circus tricks, they will rate you. Savio has 1 goal in the league playing for City. This isn't Girona have standards. I will say that. I mean, only 1 goal in... He only scored 1 goal. 1 league goal. No, he was nowhere near the level. The only thing I would say for Spurs getting Savinho, the only thing I say about Spurs getting him, I'm a little confused. Why does he want to leave so desperately? What is it? City normally give a player 18 months to 2 years. It seems a little strange, but it might just be that he's been told, look, we're bringing in Rodrygo, and Xavi. We know that they're looking at Xavi today. Chelsea are still the preferred destination according to the reports, but we know they're looking at Xavi. Maybe Chelsea are looking at this and saying, well, we're going to go get Xavi and we're going to go get Rodrygo. Savio, thank you, but there's no place for you in this team. And they're probably going to sell him as a profit because they got him so cheap because he was from a parent club as well. So that makes a lot of sense there. Guys, we have some breaking news to bring you all. Let's do it. So we said at the top of the show that Gigi Donnarumma has been omitted from the squad for PSG at the Super Cup. We know that he is refusing to sign a new deal. They're not meeting his 10 million euro demands. That's about £166,000 a week. Their wording is very, very basic. It's just they're lowering their wages. They want young, fresh, predominantly French players. Heaven forbid an English club ever did this. They get called Brexit FC every day of the week. But he's going. Now, interestingly, both Ben Jacobs and Fabrizio have confirmed that he is guaranteed to leave the club. It may be this summer. It may be on a free next year. But what Fabrizio has just confirmed. So there's 2 things here. Firstly, there's an outlet here, a journalist here, Andre Ramos, big following, works with some big publications on the continent, including a French publication, has stated that in the last few hours, Chelsea and Manchester United have held fresh contact with Donnarumma. Plus, Fabrizio Romano has just said now, as we speak, the Premier League is the most likely destination for Donnarumma.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
you lot need to get him
Hope we
out
don't
of
go for him.
Chelsea.
I hope we don't get him.
No, we have to get him.
I don't.
This is checker. No, this is chess, not checkers.
Come on.
If Chelsea get, I'm not even a big
Sorry.
Donnarumma guy, but he's that big of an upgrade on Robert Sanchez. Robert Sanchez is the reason why I've not put Chelsea in any in any title conversations. You get a guy like Donnarumma, who I don't think is this. I don't think he's top 3 in the world in this position, but he's certainly top 5, and he's very good at shot stopping. He's decent enough with the ball at his feet, not great, but decent enough. But he's a lot more reliable than what Robert Sanchez is.
It's not about that. It's not about the It's not about the reliability. Listen, Clearlake have given me a plan. I believe in the plan. Don't freaking divert from the plan.
What?
You understand?
What's the plan, man?
No. Hold on. Why are you two out of your hands? Hold on.
I'm stressed.
Look, what I'm saying to you is right. I believe, right, that Donnarumma, listen, is an amazing goalkeeper. This is not about his actual ability. It's about I feel like we're going in a particular direction. You guys you've limited people in terms of finances, right? In terms of the wages structure, right? You've said you're not going to break no banks. You're going to make sure they're going to stick within this aspect. I don't see him trying to concede his financial wages to fit within the Chelsea spectrum. Now, if you're going to break the bank with him, I hear it. But then this also sets a precedence. Because I'm sorry, if I've got an agent and you tell me that Donnarumma is going to earn this kind of money, give me a year or two, I'm going to be asking for the same thing. And that starts a precedence, which I don't think you want to start. Number one. Number two, my thing is that we've got 4 goalkeepers in this place. You know what I'm saying? And I know that people don't want to, I'm not going to put Jorgensen or anything else on the same level. I honestly think they should try out Jorgensen. I think he's an amazing goalkeeper. I thought Petrovic was an amazing goalkeeper. I thought these players needed 1 or 2 years and they'll be amazing goalkeepers. So if we've got a plan and we've set the plan up, keep to the motherfucking plan. When you start deviating from that plan, then you're going to start losing me because you're telling me that this is why we can't buy this player, And it's like, bro, now all of a sudden we can break it for this person. And I think he's great. I just don't think he's that enough for me to say, yeah, break the plan. I don't think so, personally, for me. You know what I mean? So
we have some more. We're gonna come back to this in a second. We have some more breaking news. The most credible voice out of France is Fabrice Hawkins. My friend Fabrice Hawkins, I know him well, is a good guy. He has just confirmed that Manchester United and Chelsea have both held talks with Donnarumma in recent hours. So that original report has now been confirmed by the most reliable voice in France that both Chelsea and Manchester United are in for him. Now, Kwess, you're saying you should go for him, but you look really stressed. I don't understand why you look stressed that you're talking to one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Do you know why I'm stressed, Terry? Yeah, because it's kind of like a catch-22. Realistically, yeah, people say they don't rate Sanchez. It doesn't matter whether you don't rate him or not. Statistically, he was one of the best keepers in the league on the back end of last season. And he's actually then gone on to prove that he can do the job Chelsea needs him to do. That's why he got the Golden Glove in the World Cup. Statistically, he was one of the best goalkeepers in the league at the back end of last season. So now we've got this conundrum. Realistically, he's starting to prove himself. You want to stick with him because it makes sense to stick with him. But at the same time, everybody knows Donnarumma is an upgrade on Sanchez. Just as a goalkeeper in terms of profile and consistency. So that's why I'm stressed, because I'm looking at it going, we've already had this conversation, Terry, before, where I've said, if you get Donnarumma, you're back. You're back. Because that Onana stress is gone. When United had De Gea, the interesting thing was, yeah, people would sort of say, oh, he's sort of losing it. But the focus was always on the defenders. It was always on what Maguire was doing. It was always on what the 5'2" guy. My bad. I don't even know his name, bro. Was it Martinez? I think his name is. Yeah, my bad, bro. Yeah. It was always on them. It was always on Shaw. It was always on Bissaka. If Man United get Donnarumma, they're back. And that's why I'm stressed, because I don't want United back. Of course, I want the Barclays feeling here. Yeah, but it's like, I know a good keeper will set them right. So the catch-22 is, if we don't buy him, I know he goes and strengthens a direct rival. And for me, then you're what? one or two pieces away from really being back in that top six.
But that's where, right? And we're going to get Aiden next on this. But that's where I would say this: if this is the problem when it comes to football, I get what Kojo's saying. If you're someone that has said, you know what, I am getting behind what Clearlake are doing, and it's buying a certain profile, a certain age, on a certain salary. No one new comes into the club earning 50, 60, 100K more than other people that have been here a while. It's about kind of growing together. And if I misspeak on your project, I'm kind of boiling it down. That kind of feels how it feels at your club. If that's your approach and you're behind it and you believe it's going to yield the dividends that you want, you can't. I think I agree. So if you're in that train of thought, breaking that process just to stop Manchester United signing somebody could be counterproductive for the direction you're going in. Now, if you're the opposite and you're a Chelsea fan and you're like, no, I actually think it's been great, but I now think what we need to do is go get a Donnarumma, get a world-class centre-back, and we're good to go and win the league. Or, you've gone and got, there are deals out there because João Pedro looks in the first 4 games, looks like he could be a world-class centre forward, but just needed a much better team to prove that theory to. So I get that. From my point of view and perspective, I'm more worried that you are in that conversation. I'd have loved these reports if Chelsea's name was excluded, because if you really want him, genuinely, if you really want him, and if he's willing to come on decent wages, the only way, man, I say the only way, if we beat you to him and he comes in on decent wages, 160, 170, 180, 200, with the possibility of it increasing with Champions League qualification, if we get him on decent wages over Chelsea, I'm going to be chuffed, because you motherfuckers, when it comes to going head to head for players, are just elite. You beat pretty much everybody to these players. So that's my fear here. My hope is that he asks for 170, 180 plus, and you guys go, no, don't want to break the structure. You walk away, because then it leaves a free run. Because this man, there are some people that don't like him with the ball at his feet. But I've asked this question twice now of a man like Dom, hope you're well, brother, and even Staffy, and they avoid it by throwing out obscure stats and not really saying anything. I tell you what, I want a ball-playing keeper. How comes PSG played the best football in the world last year with him in goal?
That's what I'm saying.
If they can play brilliant football with him, you can develop a team that plays brilliant football with him. Yes, there are other goalkeepers out there that are better with the ball at their feet. But when it comes to shot stopping, he's amazing. We saw what he did in that Champions League run. Yes, you can go and find mistakes he's made. I can find you mistakes the best goalie in the world, Alisson, has made. I can find you mistakes that the greatest 2 Premier League goalkeepers of all time, Petr Cech and Peter Schmeichel, made. Van der Sar, I remember mistakes he made. We live in this weird world now where we act like keepers don't make mistakes. Errors are there. I want this player. I want him over the line. Again, it's an additional amount of points. It's an extra 6-7 points a year for us as a club due to how bad our current goalkeepers are. Because Onana in goal for the season, Bayern in goal for the season. You might, whatever you think our point total is going to be by how we play, take 12 points off of it because of the goalkeeper. Aiden, how about yourself? Really interesting news. Still waiting for again, I trust Fabrice Hawkins very, very much. For me, when it comes to news connected to French-based players, I would trust him as much as any other journalist in the world. United have made the inquiry now, so have Chelsea. Do you want him? Do you want him at United? Is this the direction we should be going in?
Donnarumma obviously will be a massive improvement on our goalkeepers. And what is the quoted salary that he'll want?
So what's quoted at the moment is that he's been asking PSG for between 10 and 12 million euros. If you convert 12 million euros into pounds, yeah, that comes in at 10.3 that comes in at 10.3 million a year. So divide that into the weekly amount. It's 198,000 a week. It's the upper end of where you want to be, but it isn't 300, 400K a week. So it's around the maximum he's asking for in pounds would be about 198,000.
And considering Onana is on like 120K, but the 78K increase on a player, and Donnarumma is far clear of Onana. And if you want to get a good goalkeeper in, a top-class goalkeeper, you've got to pay the wages of a top-class goalkeeper. Obviously, Chelsea have got a wage structure. They don't want to break it. United have done well to get the wage structure down. But even if we get him on like let's round it up to 200k. It's not terrible. Like, obviously, we want to have the wages low, but with top class players, and obviously because we don't have European football, we're gonna have to put the wages up. And obviously, if we say we'll give you 200k now, and then with the possibility of increase, it will obviously go up. But I think Donnarumma, if Donnarumma comes to United, like you said earlier on, it will be a few more points added on, because overall our defense is good, but it's the goalkeeper that let us down a lot last season. And if we've improved our attack, we're now looking at the midfield and the goalkeeper. If we get those players in, we're looking at challenging for those European places, definitely.
Man.
Listen, I hear you on that. I mean, the other big story today as well, Tom, is the Baleba story. But I need to give some more context to this, because there's been a lot of updates on Baleba in the last hour, just before we went live and since we've been live, which I think is important, because when it comes to Man United, and some of you boys on the panel might do this, but how can you do this? And the stories are out there, so I think it's important for us to share this. So what's been said by Laurie Whitwell is clearly Manchester United feel they might have a chance of signing Baleba, otherwise they wouldn't have entered these talks, and that have been going on for a while now via intermediaries and with Brighton as well. So Laurie Whitwell has sort of claimed that is going on. Andy Mitten has said that the pursuit of Baleba faces challenges due to finances. However, he says it requires the sale of players, which is kind of going on now with Højlund and Garnacho. But he does say that Baleba is keen to join Manchester United. That all being said, there was a massive update that came out off that same podcast. So people are kind of updating on this sort of as they're talking. And Laurie Whitwell has just stated, I'm just wait for this I've just bookmarked it, so I'm waiting for it to load on my bookmarks. When this is very interesting. He says here that Man United have extended their revolving credit facility with their bank. Something around 300 million is what they already had available to them. So there's a 300 million pound kitty they could go into. It says here they dip into it every summer market and basically slap it. Again, they make it sound really bad. They slap it on a credit card. It's not like a credit card with 27% APR. This will be something with a very small level of interest due to the volume of funds. Again, as much as I respect Laurie Whitwell, I really hate how journalists represent finances, because that makes it sound like a Wonga loan or how you're going to pay it off. It
sounds like you're in your overdraft.
Yeah, it is. It is like that. But these credit facilities that big corporations get, it's actually cheaper to use them than it is to spend your own cash. These companies get paid more interest on their cash balances than they do for their lending. So it's actually a cheaper option than your own cash, and it's tax deductible as well. So if you borrow money to invest into your business, the interest is you get the tax back off your interest. So if you took a loan out today, Kwess, to buy a business, and you borrowed personal money, 30 grand from a bank, and your payments were like, I don't know, your payments were like £600 a month. The interest, which is nearly, especially in the first few years, is nearly all interest that you pay at the beginning of a loan. The interest you could claim back off your tax, because it's a business investment. So that's why football clubs use the credit facilities. Because say we owe 300 million on a credit facility, the interest on it might be tens of millions, but you get it off your tax bill. So it makes sense. Anyway, it goes on to say they put it on the credit card and pay it back when the cash flow comes in. He says they've now got a wider berth for that. He goes, I don't know the exact figures, but they've got more cash at their disposal via this method. So essentially, United have spoken to their bank, demonstrated that the expenditure of the club has dropped. We've got a lot more cash flow to pay this back, and extended that. No one knows the exact amount, but it's anticipated that it's grown at least by 25% larger. So United have got a very, very big cash reserve available to them as well, plus player sales. And I thought it was important to give that information rather than us waste 20 minutes debating can we afford it or not, because clearly the club can afford it. So Tom, what's your thoughts on the Baleba stories? Because it's a little bit like Isak to Liverpool. It's not being shut down. It's being told it's a difficult deal, but it's nowhere we're reading very unlikely. United don't have any optimism. Does it feel like this deal, to you as a rival looking at this, does it feel like it could happen?
Just wait till you get to the Brighton need to find a replacement part. That part's really fun as we've been going through. You find out players who've never existed before. We'll start rejecting them. Look, but Baleba's a very good defensive midfielder. Very good. He's someone that I wanted us to look at next summer when I think we're going to the market for a defensive midfielder. It's him and Adam Morton, who I think are the two standout candidates for that position. Baleba is, I think, the better fit considering United's insistence on Bruno Fernandes, because Baleba is better at covering ground and better on a duel, so he can cover for Fernandes' deficiencies a little bit better than what Adam Morton can. I think it'd be a very good pick. I don't know how much they're asking for in terms of the price. I think you're dealing with Brighton. Yeah, Brighton have absolutely no need for money in the immediate short term, so it'll be a very expensive deal. Not that you can't afford it, but it'll just be very expensive. I reckon it'll be a fee close to what they got for Caicedo, to be honest. From everything I've seen, they value Baleba in the same way that they valued Caicedo. So I'm looking at 115 plus.
They need to make it higher.
I don't think they can make it higher because Caicedo had a higher peak at Brighton. So I think there's an element of just that if United put down 115 in like a very favourable payment structure for Brighton, I think it gets taken. And look, it's a lot of money, but he's a very good defensive midfielder. I do think, though, that United really should be looking at someone else to partner him instead of Fernandes, just to protect him, because Fernandes, I don't get how this Fernandes in a midfield two is going to work. I don't think he's made for a midfield two in terms of what that is asking in this system. It requires a lot of ground covering and a lot of security in possession, which Fernandes, as a footballer, doesn't want to go on to. So I think Baleba is probably the best bet at fitting him in terms of protecting Fernandes and trying to minimise his weaknesses. But I'll be honest, I think United should really be looking at partnering Baleba with Mainu and trying to let that partnership grow and blossom throughout this year. Because I think if you can put Baleba next to a Mainu, yeah, that's a serious pivot.
Well, that's what they're reporting on, and I'm sure Aiden has read these reports as well. The same people talking about this deal in detail now are stating that that's the plan that Amorim has. There's this element, and one of the things I said about Mainu not playing so much, I almost think the manager doesn't want to run him into the ground when there's less legs in the midfield. I almost think the manager is protecting Mainu's body by saying, look, if I play him out there so consistently with players that are slower, less mobile than someone like a Baleba, Mainu ends up running around. And I don't think he wants Mainu doing that level. Yeah, he's got to run around. He's a football player. Nobody should be standing still and not doing anything. But it's the extra ground you've got to cover. I think that there's potential. I said it earlier on today and I stand on it. I don't think they'll surpass Keane and Scholes. I don't think they'll surpass Scholes and Carrick, and Scholes is the common denominator in that. But they've got the potential to be one of the best Man United midfield partnerships, Mainu and Baleba, that I've seen in my life, especially when you look at the way modern day football has changed and the athleticism and the technical ability you need in tight spaces to be able to be press resistant, how to work your way out. You look at players like Caicedo, like Lavia's at Chelsea have as an example. Gravenberch does this fantastically at Liverpool. It isn't just like they can pass the ball and they can find a player, but they're not Paul Scholes, they're not Busquets, they're not Pirlo. They're very good in tight spaces when they're being pressed, and they can cover ground quickly. They carry the ball so much better now than players used to, because the way midfielders change. I don't know if there are midfielders that are very good with the ball. Vitinha is one of them as an example. You've got the Pedris of this world. They're amazing with the ball. But if you actually watch, they're kind of different to midfielders 15, 20 years ago. There's a little bit more explosiveness in them. There's a little, because of the way all teams now sort of press. And we need that. We haven't had two midfielders with that kind of dynamism together for a long time. We had Pogba, who was, again, very press resistant, very good in that way. But he had Matic next to him, who, again, I think was from the older school of DMs that, I'm not saying don't have a place in football, but when you look at the very top teams and look at their midfields and look who's in there, you look at City last year when they lost Rodri, who was strong, powerful, quick, could pass, was press resistant. He disappeared. Suddenly their whole team's dynamic changed. And I think it would be massively important to go and get a deal like that done. A comment here says, Terry, that's not how PSR works. The club can afford it. PSR is a different thing. I understand they could be PSR terms, but the way you're saying it is wrong. The way I'm saying it isn't wrong, because not every organization does its math in the same way. So when calculating the profit and loss, which is essentially what PSR is taken from, how much profit or how much loss the company of Man United makes, not every type of expense or revenue is or should be recorded. So expenses that you spend on assets and cash injections, such as loans or credit facilities, are often and usually excluded. They go onto your balance sheet. Your balance sheet is different from your profit and loss accounts. So as much as you may see there might be a debt that gets put against the club of 50 million because we borrow that to pay the first, because we won't be spending every penny of that credit facility on the players, because we're not going to pay cash up front. But it might be 50, 60 million of the first year payments all get put on a credit facility. So that will show as a debt on the balance sheets as an example. But you may not have to pay all of that. You might not start paying that money back until halfway through the year. You could even get a holiday repayment, which I used to do this in the bank. Equally, you have a debt, which shows in your balance sheet, which you owe £50 million. This is basic terms. But then you also gain new assets into the business, who are the football players. So then that balances the balance sheets. So for instance, if you buy a car for a business today for 100 grand, you've got 100 grand debt. It doesn't show as 100 grand debt. It's balanced off by the fact you've now got an asset in the business as well. And what typically happens in your profit and loss accounts is you don't show the payment for that car. What you show is the depreciation on that car, which is the same as amortize. It can be the same as amortization. Now, I'm not an accountant, so my accountants explained this to me. So I get where you're coming from, Ben, but it's about losing money as a business overall. And if we're putting some of it onto a credit facility for a period of time, that's actually better, again, than using our own cash or using our own revenues and maybe losing money, which would impact the profit and loss account. We're not just going to spend. It's not like doing a budget on Excel where you're like, right, I've got £3,000 coming in and I've got £4,000 going out. Oh no, I'm £1,000 down. It's not all going to be equated like that, Ben, when it comes to these football clubs. The only way you get Baleba for this season is overpay. He's probably worth the risk of that payoff. Could end up being a bargain. Kojo, what is overpaying? In your opinion, what is overpaying for Baleba based on this super chat?
For me, there isn't, I can't even lie to you. I mean, of course, if you start mentioning £200 million in this current market, we might say it's an overpayment. But I think anywhere from 100 to 125 million for Baleba, it's not an overpayment. I'll tell you why. Because people like Baleba the Caicedos and Balebas are very unique players. They're workhorses with the ability to be able to play football. And I'm sorry, there ain't many of you around. All right, there ain't many of those players around in the football team who have the athleticism, the strength, the prowess, the ability to beat a press, make a pass, be able to go forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are they're rare talents. It seems so simple till you start playing football yourself, and they press you, and suddenly you're all out here saying, "Where's no one open?" No, you ain't got the ball skills, brother. And a lot of players actually haven't got that skill. So for someone like Baleba, Caicedo, as we have seen, that the money we spent a couple of seasons ago, is anybody crying about that money? That man has made that money back.
Yeah, but we overpaid, bro. We overpaid.
We didn't overpay. We paid exactly what we needed to pay.
No, we overpaid.
Let me tell you why. Exactly to pay. This brother, I thought Kante could not be replaced. Caicedo has done that already. I thought Kante could not be replaced, but he has done that already. That tells me one thing only: the fact that he can be in about 3 or 4 places on the pitch. The fact that he can make these some of the passes that he made last night. I was watching him. Right, there's one pass where he made to Gittins. I'm sorry, the position that he plays, I'm not even expecting you to do that. With the delicacy of the pass he can make, the ball splitting passes he makes, the dribbles, the forward drives that he makes. Like, Lavia's good, but Caicedo's in a whole different range, bro. Now, you might think I'm glazing him, but the reality of the situation, he's one of the world's best. You know what I'm saying? Give him a few more years, he will prove that, and that money you spent is more than you were excited. If Kante was in his prime right now, would we be talking about 150? What he can do.
Yeah, I hear that.
How many players can do that?
But we approached Brighton, and initially the fee was 90. And then we dawdled, and then they said, "Oh, since you're dawdling, you're going to pay more when you come back." And then they had the whole little flirting thing with Liverpool, and then they were like, "All right, run up the piece. You asked 115. We weren't supposed to pay 100. We weren't supposed to pay 115. Same with Fernandes. We weren't supposed to pay 105 or whatever it was to Benfica. We were dilly-dallying. And then they said, "You owe us more bread. If you're going to take the mick, you're going to pay up."
I
So
get that.
that's why I say overpay.
Negotiations, though.
With hindsight, though. But with hindsight, was he worth the money?
Yeah, but is he 100 million?
No, but mention a better player in midfield right now.
No, I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying
look
there
what
are
I mean.
very few players that are worth 100 and 100.
But do you not think though, Kwess, that because of the football always changes and there's always new roles and new positions. You know, number 10s were fashionable for a while. 9s were always the most important players in the team, and that changed.
For sure.
I think football has changed again. Where I think what Kojo said is important. What you need is a player that can be a workhorse, has pace and stamina, but is also technically gifted. Because of the way modern teams play, the relentless press, the way they move the ball, the energy that's needed, that holding midfield player who essentially has to cover every blade of grass, I feel like they've become even more important. If you look at the most successful teams in this last 3 or 4, 5, 6 years in Europe, they all have Caicedo-esque players in terms of brilliant. You look at, you know, I know he's obviously no one wants to praise him as a person, but you look at Thomas Partey, not as quick as Caicedo, but had the physicality, can move the ball, pass the ball. Arsenal were a different team when he was fit and when he was raring. It's why they've gone for Zubimendi. Again, if you watch Zubimendi on Saturday, actually start a game with his teammates, he may not look like he's going to be that physical, but he covers ground, he passes the ball. It's that kind of mixture of the physicality and the sort of Busquets, Carrick, Pillow, being able to control tempo. Now, I'm not saying he's as good as him at doing that, but it's that mixture. I do think they're worth the money. I think we're moving into an era where if you don't have, you could take a brilliant system with £1 billion squad, with a world-class manager. If you remove the midfielders of that level with the physicality and the technical ability, I think everything starts to crumble. I actually feel if you took Lavia and Caicedo out your squad now and everything else was the same,
we'd be dead.
You're not. I don't think you're coming in the top 6. Genuinely.
Yeah, I agree.
You look at Liverpool, their team last season, the same as their best Klopp teams. That midfield, every time it's that midfield, workhorses, legs, energy, good technical ability on the ball. When Liverpool lost that for a few years, that didn't help them either. That's why that midfield rebuild 2 years ago was so key of bringing in the players they did. And overpaying for me, I'd go as high as 115, which is what you pay for Caicedo. I am very comfortable with that. And I'm a penny pincher when it comes to what Man United spend. If we spent 115 all in on Baleba, I'm a very happy man. This
what's
guy,
too much then?
116, I suppose. No, that's being a bit facetious. But for me, if you start going 120s, 125, 130s, it's not that it's too much for the player. Even it's we've got other positions to fill.
So it's almost like a tax for you. So it's going to sound weird. This United getting him now means no other club can get him next summer.
That's also it.
If he's available next summer, I know that Michael will probably be in the market for a DM. If Rodri,
even with Gravenberch,
Endo's gonna have to go and we kind of need one anyway.
Okay.
If Rodri's struggling with these injuries, like he could seemingly be, City are gonna need one.
Okay,
who knows what other teams in Europe could need one?
I see your point.
If multiple big teams start looking at Carlos Baleba, then there's a chance United might not win that war. Because he might pick a different club.
There's a big chance.
So if you get him now, you might be paying a little bit over the odds now. But it's the guarantee that no one else can get him.
And that's also it. If someone said to me now, listen, guarantee you've got him 115 million today is what the overall package is going to be. Yeah. Or overall package of 95 million next year, but every other fucker's in for him. We might have a season that no one's expecting. And we come to next summer and we're like, well, I fancy my chances against everyone now. I'm not taking that risk. I'm paying the asking price today, so he's mine. He's my asset. He's my player. I don't know about you, Aiden. I would personally do it.
I would pay it as well because obviously, as you've all said, other clubs will come in for it, and we need a midfielder now. A midfielder's come in midfield now and help that midfield out. Basically, if we don't get the Baleba now, or even like a Hackney or whatever, we might not even get in Europe. So then we won't be in the race for Baleba because if Liverpool run for him, City run for him, there'll be more desirable places to go because obviously Liverpool will need a midfielder and they'll be in the Champions League challenging for the title. Baleba will see that and probably think, yes, I'll go to them because I can win titles. If United don't finish in Europe and we haven't got a midfielder in, yes, there's a place for him, but he won't want to come to United, who's just off another bad season, I suppose. So I think paying the money for Baleba it's a smart thing to do, because obviously it's a lot of money, but it's a smart thing to do to make sure no one else can get him now. And obviously, because Bruno's staying for at least one more season, it will give Baleba time to integrate into a team and understand what Cameron wants before then Bruno maybe goes next summer, then Manu comes in. It's just about integrating him into the team and paying the money that Brighton want.
I agree. Ronin's back. He says, overpay. We left Liverpool hanging in the middle of the night. Priceless, is what he says there. I suppose there is that side. From a banter perspective, I remember that night. I remember waking up because my studio wasn't at my home then. It was a different place, 5 minutes away. And it was so weird. I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning. And I always do this in the transfer season. Whenever I wake up, for whatever reason, I check my phone in case there's been breaking news. And 9 times out of 10, there never is. And I saw this Ornstein tweet, and it was just fluke. It was literally within the last 30 seconds he tweeted it. And I kept on refreshing it, thinking, is this the real guy? I checked it. I went, oh my God, Liverpool have taken Caicedo away from Chelsea. So I jumped up, threw some clothes on, brushed my teeth, jumped in the car, drove, ringing up KJ. You awake? He's like, yeah, I'm awake. I know what he was doing awake, playing FIFA or something. And I'm like, yo, get a stream set up. I'm going to be in the studio in a minute. So he's setting a stream up. I get in there. We go live. Crazy numbers for 2 o'clock in the morning. Liverpool fans celebrating everywhere. Finished the stream. I went to bed. Woke up. Then the stream was still like trending. I was like, oh, wow, this is great. Great for the channel, everything else. The support was great. Then like 10 o'clock, bang. Actually, Chelsea are back in and more likely again now. That was just that 12-hour period. I have never seen anything like it in my life. It was just phenomenal. Marv here says hello from NYC. Big up Marv over there in New York City. Do you think Haaland is a cheaper, wiser option, considering we also need a goalkeeper?
Haaland is not the same type of DM that Baleba is. Haaland is the guy. Haaland is the guy you'd want alongside a Baleba, not the guy to replace Baleba. Haaland is the guy who does the tempo control. He's a good passer. He can intercept the ball, but he's not going to eat up the ground in the way that Baleba does. And you've kind of got a guy, not as good as Haaland, but Manu can do elements of what Haaland does. Bruno can do elements of what Haaland does. Baleba has to be the priority because you've got no one that can do what Baleba does. The only guy you've got is Mamadou Ugarte, and I watched one pre-season game against Everton, and it was the most painful thing I've ever watched, and I weren't even a United fan. He couldn't do anything right. And if the only other option outside that is Casemiro, who knows when his legs are going to stop working again. You need to address that problem, because there's no point in buying a Haaland and then putting old man Casemiro or Ugarte next to him. I agree.
Old man.
Yeah, I wouldn't cry with Haaland. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, this is horrendous. But yeah, they're very different. We need that energy. We need those legs. And I'm still not 100%. I wouldn't cry at the deal for Haaland. I like him, but I'm not sure if he fixes the physicality element in our midfield. So, yeah, for me, it wouldn't be the alternative that I would go for. I'd try and take that young lad at Chelsea that I saw the other day, man like Dario, like that kid. Bravo, I couldn't believe how good he looked. Honestly, the commentator said this, and I was like, I agreed with him. He's like, I didn't know Caicedo had left the pitch. It wasn't just winning. It was his movement, his ability. It was like, if you were partially sighted, you'd have thought it was the same player. They moved like each other. It was like, oh my God, it was like they're brothers. It was crazy. If United waits, the price could go up as well. That's it. If he has another brilliant season, again, the price could go up. That's also, listen, you've always got to think about it from that point of view and perspective. Ronin here says, no chance we sign Donnarumma. Again, you could be right. I've put it out on Twitter that it's on and active for both clubs. And the amount of Chelsea fans responding, they're like, no way, we're not in for him. No chance. I'm only putting out there what Fabrice and the like have said. So we will see. But viewers, listen, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace. Get that bell notification button turned on as well, so you know when we go live. Now, obviously, we've had, we've touched on City. We've touched on Manchester United as well. I wanted to touch a bit on Liverpool, because I've been reading some reports today that Liverpool are expected to bid again soon. It feels like it's coming because Newcastle keep briefing the press on, we're not going to accept unless it's a really big offer, like a British transfer record isn't already one. We've seen Newcastle fans losing their minds today with True Geordie not wishing a career-threatening injury on the player, but saying if he gets a career-threatening injury, I'll never feel sorry for the guy. He's a scumbag. So whenever I see, whenever I kind of see certain Newcastle fans losing their minds online, it's always an indication that another bid is on the way. You know, I used to have a cat that whenever it was about to rain would always go and sit under the stairs. She'd always go and do it. Oh, we're getting rain later because Fluffy's gone under the stairs. When I see certain Newcastle fans losing their minds online, it normally means a bid is coming. Are you confident, Tom? Because a lot of the media, a lot of the Newcastle media continue to try and push this deal down and say it isn't happening.
I mean, the lads refused to play and faked an injury twice. He couldn't do much more to ask to come to us. I don't know. We're just waiting. This is the annoying bit. We're just waiting for them to do something. The whole thing of, it's all about when they open the door. We know they're not going to open the door if they've got no replacements. We need them to get someone. The problem is they've just been unable to get anyone. I do think it might get to a point where we kind of just have to offer a big fee to try and force their hand and make them even debate whether it's just worth letting them go before they get the replacement in and use the money elsewhere, because this is dragged on now for about a month. About a month this is dragged on now. And we just need to get a line in the sand about whether we're doing it or not. We need to know whether it's going to be Isak or whether we're going to put all our focus on Barcola and try and persuade him to pick us, because we need an attacker. We do need an attacker. I hope it's Isak. I still think that the difference is that Isak really wants to move. We have the capabilities to pay it. We just need Newcastle to finally agree a deal with a striker. I don't know why we couldn't have done this earlier in the summer. If he was this dead set on this move and everything, if he told Newcastle months ago that he was going to move, why did it take until after we'd spent 90 million quid on one of their options for you to go, oh, by the way, I want to move? If you'd done that a lot earlier, I could have missed this whole shit show and got it done and dusted. But we are where we are. We need to get a striker through the door. Our journalists say it looks like it's going to happen. Their journalists will say it's not going to happen. The likelihood is it's somewhere in the middle, which is if we offer the money, it'll probably happen. I just want it to happen sooner rather than later, because I'm sick of every day seeing a new thing Keith, about, they're not there yet. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, because Keith has come out and said now, excuse me, Keith has just said it feels like the options for Newcastle are very thin on the ground after missing out on Benjamin Šeško. Honestly, as much as I think Liverpool do this, I do hope us getting Šeško stops it. He says, so I think as the days go on, it becomes increasingly likely that Isak remains a Newcastle player. But I mean, that's just hedging your bets. It's like every minute that goes, it's like saying every minute that goes by, it's increasingly more likely that the sun sets. I mean, yes, the closer you get to deadline day without the deal being done, the higher the chances are he remains. I mean, fuck me, Keith. Oh, hang on. Speaking of Newcastle fans, Ash has arrived. There he is. You're right, Ash.
Hey, yo. Right. Listen, if you want Isak, come and put a bid in for him.
We did do.
Well, yeah, 110 mil. You're not having him for that, are you?
Yeah, and then you just said no to no more negotiations. So what the fuck are we supposed to do then?
Yeah, but the thing is, so obviously Liverpool thought, okay, we respect that, so we'll go out and get a striker. What happened? We've gone to try and get a striker, and then everyone else has come in and got one. So we're stuck in a position where we're just in a terrible place at the moment. Like, we obviously we want to let Isak go, obviously, but we need to have someone else in. And obviously Wissa needs to be that. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he's not coming in. I don't know what the hell we're waiting for.
Why can you not buy a striker? You had no problems negotiating Ramsdale. You have minimal problems negotiating Alanga.
Right.
Why can't you just buy? Why can't we have these?
Well, because hang on a minute. Hang on, Tom. Hang on. That's because Man United weren't trying to buy them. That's all that's happened. Is that they're just? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like me and you, Tom. Me and you go out, Tom. If we're both single, we both go out and we're on a little chirps. You just know. It doesn't matter which one you see first. You just know I'm winning that race, bruv. You know what I'm saying? You know.
There we go.
No. Sorry.
But
back to you, Ash.
the thing is, you need to think about this, right? Anthony Elanga, apparently it's came out that a lot of him actually came. The reason why he came is because of Elliot Anderson, who like kind of bigged the club up. We don't have a sporting director. Like, I'm not gonna lie, comparing Ramsdale, like we're not exactly selling one of the best prospects in the world.
Ash, mate, I just need something. I can give you a list of strikers if you want. I really can.
No, because
I can give you a list of guys that can do the job.
But the list you're going to say, Nicholas Jackson's going to be at the top of that list. Or
He
Dom
won't
Hey,
be
hey,
at the top of my list.
Put respect on his name, please.
I wouldn't want to put anyone through that pain. I saw today that you were linked with what's his name, Cali Moendo from Rennes. That's a smart one. And it's going to sound horrible. That's the battle you can win. You can outmuscle Brentford. You can beat Brentford to a guy.
You say that. Flipping, we can't even beat Brentford to their own player at this point. I don't know what's going on I don't know what's going on there. Like, I don't know. Every day it's just terrible, man.
Do you know what? I don't think it's that bad, you know. I don't think it's that bad for Newcastle. I know that it looks sticky because they can't sign a striker. But the thing is, I actually don't think Isak's going anywhere. I reckon, this is just me. I reckon what's happened is, Liverpool are like, we'll go get Isak. Isak got ready, packed his bags. Then they realized the Ekitike deal for Chelsea was going to fall through. They were like, oh, they're not serious. They were like, wait. They called up Isak. You know, like when it's like a booty call, like don't come over yet. Like, I think she's gonna come through. So just hold on. My girl's still here. Don't come over. Now I don't do this. Shout out, 'cause I love my wife, innit? I don't do this, but I'm just saying.
Hey, hang on. You just exposed yourself there, brother.
I'm just saying. Just in case.
It's not me. It's a friend.
No, I'm just saying. Just in case. Babe, I love you. Yeah, but I'm saying that I've heard these things. I've seen them on TV. Yeah. So I reckon that's what's happened. And then they've got Ekitike, and then they've just gone, oh, do we need Isak now? So then I think it's like a sticky one where you realize as Liverpool, we actually don't need his profile as striker. We already got two huge lumps that can dribble well and finish well. Why do we need a third one? And then I think Newcastle like, well, he's kicking off. He wants to go. But all of a sudden, since Liverpool are not like super pressing, they're saying, oh, we'll wait for you. All of a sudden, it's like stalling because realistically, no one wants to make the first move. That's what I think.
Who's the second lump that we've got? We've got Ekitike. We've got no one else.
What's his name on the left wing? My man.
Gakpo.
But why would my left winger stop me from buying another striker? I've got one striker.
What I'm saying is, you've got the same profile, like a tall dribbler, like tall lump through the middle. Yeah. Gakpo can do the same job that Ekitike can do down the middle.
Gakpo can't play in the middle.
All right, then. I've seen him play down the middle for you, but all right, then. Let's just say for the sake of argument, he doesn't.
Crap there. That's why he doesn't do it anymore.
And then I'm a double down by saying, when watching that game yesterday, to me it seemed like, oh, Ekitike is already who the play goes through. So the minute he went off, things fell apart. I'm going, I feel like this is a situation where
the reason it fell apart when he went off is because we didn't have another striker. This is the part. I get the little point you're trying to say. The problem is basically we only have one striker at this football club at the minute. We need two.
But would you agree that Nunes was absolute pants last season?
Nunes has been pants for...
Right, I'm glad you said it. So how did you survive last season with half a striker in Nunes and Gakpo then?
Because we had Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota.
All right, so you're in your head, Isak comes and he does both their jobs. He does Diaz and Jota's job.
No, what's going to happen is Ekitike is going to come in, and ideally Isak's going to come in. Isak is your main guy, your starting guy. Ekitike can do a job on the left, but you're mainly wanting through the middle. Gakpo's your starting left winger. You've got young Rio to be the third choice option on the left, so he's going to get some game time. He can develop it at his own pace. That's all we need. Our problem last year wasn't that we didn't have the right options. We had the ideal amount of players in every position. The problem was both my strikers last season got 6 goals each. But we need 2 strikers anyway. We need to, if you're going to be playing close to 60 games in a season, Liverpool need 2 strikers. If we can go and get the best thing, because Hugo Ekitike can't play 60 games.
No, I hear that. hear that. That's fair.
We need 2 strikers. If we can go and get the best in class, go and get the best in class. And Ekitike, because he's a little bit more versatile, can accept getting minutes up there and out there. That's how it's got to be.
Yeah.
Did you watch Ekitike yesterday?
I did. He was very good. He was
Do you
very
not
good.
do you not think that he's gonna see Isak come through the door and be like, bro, what you doing? I can already do this.
Do you know what?
I don't need you here.
I think there's actually
Because
something
Alexander
about
Isak
that.
is someone who can get 30 goals. Ekitike can get 20. Alexander Isak is a cut above Hugo Ekitike.
Yeah, you ain't getting
Mate,
too. Sorry, go on. Go on.
There's something that's been completely forgotten about in this. Isak was brought into us mainly as kind of like a left winger. So Isak and Ekitike can be able to switch positions from the left wing and the strike quite a bit. So there's a lot more interchangeability there than what you're actually thinking.
We could find a way to get them working together as up top together with Verts and Salah.
So let me just get this clear. You're going to Everton away, yeah, and you're doing a front three of Gakpo, Isak, and Ekitike.
It's gonna be long balls, boy.
Why would that? Hold on,
Old school
why
wing
would I
play.
do that?
I'm just asking because the way it sounds like.
Where's Salah?
Hey, Salah's legs are gone. Did you not watch the game yesterday? Salah's legs are
we're
gone.
doing the thing we do every summer. Salah's shit now.
I never said that. I just said his legs are gone this
No,
time.
it's gone. No,
I just said his legs are gone this time.
You cannot doubt Mohamed Salah.
I will doubt him, bro.
Every-
He looks lost, can't lie.
Doubt him to your own peril. I've got no worries about Mohamed
I
Salah.
actually think this might be the time he's finished.
You
I'm
think
not
this
gonna lie
might be the time because he didn't get the ball passed to him?
And by the way,
He'll
the standard
have
of
a
finish
conceded.
for Salah is like 15 goals. So yeah, all right, fair. But I still think this season
standard
he's
of
going to
finish
be
for-
because
Hold
obviously
on,
he does
what?
like 30, 28 a season. So finish for him.
So
is like
why
half.
does that
fine.
now mean
That'll
he's
be
going to
fine.
get 15?
I'm just telling you what my opinion is, how I feel about it. I'm just
Wasn't his
saying.
best season last season? I swear his best season was last
He's
season.
just
Yeah,
come
we
off
got
one
like
of the
30.
greatest individual seasons in Premier League history.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm
he
now
won't do
being
that
told,
back-to-back.
he's going to get 15.
He won't do that back to back though. He won't do that back.
I don't need him to do it back to back, but I'm also not going to say he's washed, he's finished, he's got no legs anymore.
No,
If
I
anything,
do think his
if
legs are
anything,
gone.
me getting Isak, me getting Ekitike, me adding a Verts helps to prolong that career. Especially me adding a Frimpong helps to prolong that career because all he has to do now is basically stand there and play me. He'll still score loads because it's Mohamed Salah, but he's got to do even less of the off-the-ball stuff. Our plan at Liverpool Football Club next season, I can tell you this right now, if we attack down the left, it's going to be give the ball to Florian Wirtz. If we attack down the right, it's going to be give the ball to Mohamed Salah. We will still attack down the right more often than we attack down the left, but it's very simple. We have got 2 of the most creative players on the planet. Football is a very simple game. You give the ball to the creative players and make everyone else run around them. And your creative players will more often than not make the correct decision. Now, if I'm adding Alexander Isak, who's one of the best strikers on the planet, if I've got Hugo Ekitike, who's a very promising young striker, if I've got Gakpo, who I know can give me 15 plus goals a season, if I've got, when Wirtz has got the ball, Salah, and when Salah's got the ball, Wirtz, I'm going to have no problem with that. But the thing is, we need to get Isak in the door because we need another striker. We cannot go into this season
And pay
with
the
one
money.
striker.
You need to break the bank and pay for Isak. All I'm hearing is complaints. I need you to break that bank, offer them Newcastle 150, 160, because you're talking about Baleba and Isak being in the same profile. You need to break the bank.
I do agree it's going to cost more than the 110. I think
you need to
it'll end up being about 130-ish. But
No, it should be 150.
From everything
you can't be that close.
From everything we are told, we can't do anything right now. We could offer them 150 and they'd say no because we haven't got a guy in.
I don't think that's the case.
Excuses. That's excuses. Every
I
time
don't
you
think
make
that's the
excuses,
case
Tom.
at all.
It's going to Ash here. What are you saying, Ash?
I think if you offer us 130 right now, we would say no. But if you came in and offered us 150, I think it might be different. I think we would more than likely bite your hand off because
Exactly. Money talks.
That's a lot of money.
So what you're telling me is he's worth 130, but because you haven't got your guy yet, it's 150.
No,
If
he's
you
worth-
if
he's
you
worth-
had a
he's worth
striker
more
there-
than-
Tom,
He's
why are you
worth-
splitting hairs?
He's worth more than 150. He'll bag your goals. He'll bag you Champions League all the time. He's guaranteed goals. 20 plus.
You did
goals
say
a
30
season.
a season, yeah. You did say 30 a season, Tom. So
Tell your team
theoretically,
put up and shut up, man. Put the money where the mouth.
Get your money up.
I want us to.
Get
Yeah,
your money.
maybe.
Yoey
Yeah.
here says this is great. He says Liverpool's mistake was thinking that Newcastle could find a replacement who wants them.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not
Nah,
like
no,
low.
you-
the slander Newcastle's not
You've
tolerated.
got to offer the money, man. You've got to offer the money. That being said, I do think there's a lot of I do get what the Newcastle press is saying, but it's just obvious stuff. It's like, if we don't find a replacement and we're not offered good money, we're not going to accept the bid. Yeah, I think we all kind of know that, but it's the way those headlines read. I don't know if you saw, Ash, when Luke, whatever his name is, was telling everybody so this is for the simpletons, and then his own statement after that. Now, I'm dyslexic, so I can sometimes misinterpret things, but it was one of the most oxymoronic, contradicting statements, ironically, for simpletons I've ever read in my life. It was weird.
Mate, I could not believe that when I read that. It's just like going through his Twitter, you will just see him quote tweeting, like having a massive thread of just conversations with himself at this point. Like, I don't even know what this guy's doing anymore. Like,
it's a brilliant. So he starts off by saying, if Newcastle can sign 2 strikers and Liverpool make a bid of 150 million, Isak will probably be sold. And he goes, so to make this simple for simpletons, there is no chance he'll be allowed to leave. Your other tweet just said, if we get this and this happen, he's going to leave.
I think he doesn't believe that you're going to pay that money. I think he believes that you're not going to pay that money. I don't know if Liverpool are willing to put up the 150. I know you got the money, but whether you're willing to put up the 150, I think you're trying to push them.
No, I
think you're trying to push Newcastle to the edge. And I think, listen,
if
you might get it, you might not get it. But let me be honest with you.
If it comes down to it, we'll pay it.
Let me be honest with you. Hold on, Tom. Let me be honest with you.
Tom, just Kojo, speak, please. Thank you.
Let me be honest with you. You guys are stalling. Like this deal should be done. It's simple. Newcastle are trying to play hard to get. Okay, like they are that girl that sees you, they flirt with you, but they're playing a little bit hard to get. They don't. So all they're asking for is to put that money down, put the 130 plus the add-ons, make it 150, and you're done. Right? I think what you guys are doing also trying to be a little bit clever. You're trying to force them towards the end of the market to see if Newcastle will shirk. They may do. They may shirk. We don't know. It's going to be a game of chicken right now, right? Which is that if Newcastle are thinking to themselves that we can hold on to Isak, as much as we can, and then go for that season, maybe he'll change his mind. You know, like when you date a girl who you don't really like she thinks you're ugly, but she gives you a chance. That's actually what's happening with Newcastle right now. It's like we'll hopefully hold on, and maybe he'll turn around and be like, he actually loves us again. You know what I mean? And that what they hope for. But my thing is this: I just think to myself, if Liverpool should be about their business, pay this 130 and then pay the add-ons and get it done and get it over the line. You know what I'm saying to you? And then Newcastle can come over and buy Jackson for 70 million, and we can also be good and go about our business, because you ain't going to find a striker in that amount of time. You know what I'm saying to you? Although I would say if Newcastle, it's a hard bet. And I don't think it can get done, because I don't know if you guys got the structure in terms of people that can negotiate that. No offense to your team, just saying. You know, you might be looking at someone like Alvarez from Atletico Madrid, you know, pay that 80, 90 mil and get a striker who can finish, can score, and he would complete that team, because, again, that front three would be devastating. You know what I mean? To have Alanga, have Gordon, and then have him up front, Alvarez, finishing that top three, that'd be nasty. So I think you can just look around a little bit, see some different options on the table. So I'd say, Liverpool, hurry up and do this, because you're causing a hold up and a delay in the traffic for everybody else.
Us.
Okay, pay that money so that they can sign up a player as well.
We're the hold up.
It's you.
I said
Us.
Do you know what?
We're
Tom?
the hold up in this whole deal.
It's a U and an S. Us. Yes.
Us. Oh, Tom, do you know what? Do you know what?
It sounds like you're doing Shotokan karate. Us. Us.
We're the problem. We're the reason this deal hasn't happened yet.
Kind of. Well, I don't know. But the thing is, normally when you go in for a player, like you're testing the waters, are they going to come to us? You put an offer that's not too far. Like you would think maybe 10 million difference or something. 110. I'm not going to lie. When I saw that, I was like, do Liverpool not have the funds to get 150 or something? It did make me think.
Well, we do now, because we sold.
They're violating Ash. That's what they're doing.
What? Right. Listen, I'm telling you right now, if you guys want Isak, if you come in for 150 bid, I promise you he's gone.
Yeah, I think we
I can assure
get
you
him for less than that, though.
Exactly. But you're playing a dangerous game there, because I'm telling you right now, the closer this gets to the end of the window, he's under contract. He will just say no.
If your hard line is, if it gets to 150, we accept. I think we probably wait another week, see if you get someone in, which then lowers your asking price. If not, I think we will just pay the 150 at some point, and we'll just stomach it. And then I think that might have a knock on with someone else later on down the line. But the way we have spoken about Virgil van Dijk this summer within the football club, to the journalists, to whatever, we have put him on the same pedestal as a Van Dijk and an Alisson when we were going for them. and we paid exactly what they wanted in the end for those two because the clubs wouldn't negotiate. So I wouldn't be shocked if in the end, if you stick steadfast at that 150 after we try a little bit, get told to do one, we end up just paying you the 150 that you want because he's the clear dream target for the football club.
I would love to know this for. Do you think Baleba's worth 115?
No, but I didn't think Caicedo was worth 115, so I can see why he's going to go for 115.
So the most important part of football is being able to put the ball in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be able to say Caicedo and Baleba's all worth 115, I think it's quite evident what Isak is what he's worth.
Mm-hmm. No, I do think Isak for 150 is more worth it than a Baleba for 115 type. But I don't know. My club just think that we can do something at 130. I think.
Mate, I'll tell you,
130, it'll be fine.
Do you know what I will be very angry at to do with my club though at the end of this transfer season? If it comes out that we have gone in for Samu and it's been told us around 80 million if we want to bid that, and if we say no, when we know he has a release clause of 87 million, he just signed a season ago. We're never going to be able to get him much below that release clause. If we pull out and say, "Oh no," because of the price, I'm going to be so annoyed at that because we know how much he is. So either we go in for Samu or get Pav, have Wissa. Otherwise, I think our transfer window might not be looking too good because we're going to have someone stuck in our club that doesn't want to play for the badge.
Boy, tough, man.
I just want it to be done, man. I
Oh,
know
you guys want it to be done. Now that we've got Sheshko done, I'm enjoying the saga now because we're not involved in it.
Honestly, Terry, you don't know the happiness I had when that random Slovenian journalist said he picked Newcastle. The happiness I had that night.
I never believe. I know you shouldn't always judge a journalist based on the amount of followers they've got, but the fact that he had like 225 followers, I didn't believe it.
I needed anything. I
didn't believe it. And it's normally there was like 3 or 4 reports very quickly, and then you go to the tier ones, and I'm like waiting for any of them, and then they all posted no decision been made yet. So straight away I was like, okay, I can relax a bit. Marv says Terry, the beard always gets the girls. Shampers, yeah. Tom doesn't have a beard. It's like a few strands of hair on his face. He can't grow a beard yet. When he's older, though, when he reaches puberty, maybe he'll get there.
For fuck's sake, here we go.
Speaking of problems, we touched on it lightly earlier, but the Xavi deal to Chelsea, reportedly, City are going to try and hijack it. Not really moving forward with Chelsea. And news has just come out as well about a Chelsea bid for Garnacho that's gone in, but you didn't offer us money. You offered us a series of players, and I'll name those players to you. You offered us... Why is that being deleted? Now, here it is. This is what it's done. Chelsea offered Manchester United the chance to include some players as part of the deal, including Nkunku, Dizasi, and Vega. Man United have rejected the bid. And so we only
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, it's been done, but you're obviously trying to get Garnacho, but there are obviously talks about City coming in and maybe taking Xavi away. Concerns at all, Kojo?
I'm not really concerned, if I'm honest with you. You know what I mean? I think this is, again, like I said, I think we spoke about this a few weeks ago, right? It's a roulette of transfers that are happening, right? Like I keep saying, you know, it's not Liverpool's fault on this occasion this time, but you know, I think there's a couple of deals that are trying to go over the line first. People are trying to get certain things in place. People are going to trying to get people sold before they can actually go all the way in. Do I think Man City can take? I mean, Man City is a very interesting proposition. Will Xavi be tempted? Absolutely. And I wouldn't see him to say turning them down. I just think that we have done so much work already in the last few weeks that unless Chelsea don't put a bid in, an appropriate bid in, that's the only way I see us losing. And at that point, that's not them beating us to the punch. That's us saying we don't want that player anymore. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm not scared of Man City coming in and turning his head and thinking to himself a better proposition. I think we're solid on this one. And I think we're good to go. You know what I mean?
How about yourself, Kwess? Are you confident as well? Even if City come in sort of hard and heavy?
I feel like if City come in and they're serious and then he wants to go, then I just think don't lose sleep over it. Like, he wants to go City, and so therefore we're not losing out on a player. I just think it's not like, oh, we have to even have that mentality. I just think I see it that way. If it comes between Chelsea and City, you know Chelsea's trajectory right now. You know where City have been and who they still are. If you choose City, you want City. Don't think you want City and come Chelsea. We don't need anybody flirting. So for me, I'm not really worried about it in that perspective, because I think he'll go where he's supposed to go. And if he comes to Chelsea, he'll be a legend. I'm sure he'll score lots of goals and integrate really well. And if he goes City, good luck to him. God, everybody I've seen go over there and play on the wing since Sterling left, like we talked about earlier, they have a torrid time. So I don't really know what he's going to do over there at City would be my thing. Like, I can't. They've already got Shirky. They've already got Foden. They've already got Bernardo Silva. Who are you going to go and be? I just can't see what he's going to add to their squad. So I just don't know. I think obviously there was talks like Chelsea are trying to get the Nkunku to go the other way, but Leipzig have said, nah, they're not really feeling it. I don't know, man. If the deal happens, it happens. I'll be cool with it. If it doesn't happen, I don't think I'll lose too much sleep. For me, hey, they're going to cook me again, but I actually think the Garnacho deal is more important. I was listening the other day. I know Kojo was saying it like, Gittins is good, but he's not the finished article yet. And that's fair enough. You're 21. But we just might need an extra profile in there who's been in the league, understands how to operate and get his little goals and whatever. And we might just need that backup there. And I want to say that's probably a safer bet than the Simmons deal, because Simmons could come and just not hit the ground running. So, yeah, I don't know. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, cool. I do think, sadly enough for Chelsea fans, Garnacho is a more important deal right now. So, yeah. Trying to offer them Vega and that though, that's nasty work. That's nasty work.
Well, yeah, Aiden, you said good. I mean, is it nice? Because there's been so many rumors this summer that we're going to accept those deals or interested in those kind of players. United fans have been losing their minds. Is it nice to see that again? Those types of rumors appear to be absolute nonsense, because if we were that desperate for those players, we'd be taking them right now, wouldn't we?
Yeah, it's good that United are now growing a backbone and aren't just being pushed around by other clubs to accept fees that they want to pay, but we're holding out and saying, pay what we want to pay, otherwise you're not getting them. Like, after so many years of buying players for ridiculous fees and also letting go of players for small fees, like, I think our highest player departure was Dan James for 20 million going to Leeds. Like, that was how bad we're really bad at selling players. So now that we're actually growing a backbone and saying pay this, otherwise you won't get him, I think it's good. And like everyone said, Garnacho, I think he'll be good at Chelsea, but he's not the finished article. But I just want to get Garnacho out for a decent amount of money so we can put it into other areas.
I know people are cooking this Garnacho thing, and I can see them cooking me in the cause. But listen, I just think the other thing is, look, we sold you Mount. Yeah, we said, listen, we got this wrapper, a bit of chewing gum. It's got bubble gum in it, but we've actually taken 2 out already. Yeah, but we gave you Mount. Yeah. And it's like, this is just balancing the books. I'll shake your hand, you shake my hand. It's all good. Like, I know so many Chelsea fans are like, we don't want to get you. We don't want to calm down. Just chill out. He's going to come in. He's going to have a good time and be okay. It's 50 mil. We've spent that money worse. Don't forget we spent 70 mil on Kepa. Yeah, and then we've had to load him to Bournemouth and sell him to Arsenal to make some bread. So we've lost worse. Relax, guys. It's going to be okay. And remember, we've done United over before. We might do them over again. Just cool off. Cool off.
I think that, look, Man United, after they made a horrendous mistake, and I think Chelsea fans most recently will appreciate this probably more than any other fan base. You know, we made a mistake when Ineos came in of keeping Ten Hag. We didn't move everything on. We should have started afresh. And I think yours was almost the other way. You probably shouldn't have removed Thomas Tuchel so early. You did. You went to Potter, and it took you a while to find yourselves again. We then bring in a manager. We decide on the system. We decide on the profiles of players. And Garnacho wasn't doing. Some people don't like Garnacho, and we live in a world now where there's certain attributes that if a player doesn't have, certain football fans of all clubs don't like them, and I'm sure you all know those same people at all your clubs respectively. You know, there are certain players that just don't fit because they're a bit clunky looking or a bit ugly looking, or their tech is they're not it's not like watching ballet where the lines are good. We all have fans that prefer that. But Garnacho was progressing. He was playing well. He was scoring in FA Cup finals. He was winning games for Man United in that first 18 months, 2 years in the team. Then the situation with Amorim started. Some of it was being unprofessional, but I think that was because of the culture at the club, and players were able for years to be insubordinate and cut corners and down tools a bit and do what they wanted, and they always got away with it. And it's a little bit like Garnacho's one of the players who's been caught up in the moment that it has changed. It's like, oh shit, people are getting in trouble for this now. Fuck's sake. After all those players that have got away with it in the past, I'm the one who got caught. And that's all that's you ever done that at school or as an adult when everybody jumps over that fence, or everybody does that or breaks that rule or does this wrong at work, but everyone gets away with it, and you're the one person who's like, hang on, why am I in trouble when I know everybody else does it? I think there was a little bit of that. I don't think he's this trash player. I don't think Garnacho is this horrible, rubbish, no good, deadbeat, horrible signing that a lot of people seem to want to make him out to be. He may not be everybody's preference in terms of the eye test, and I get it. But I just think he's the kind of player that I think you'll end up paying around 40, 45, all fee add-ons included. I think over the course of 3 or 4 years, I think he can score you across all comps. 10, 12 goals a season. I think he can help win you games. I think he gives you a different dynamic from the bench, and I think that's where you'll play him from. I don't think it's as bad a business as people are making out, especially when you look at your recruitment of actual first team players in the last 2 or 3 windows. You've been pretty spot on. I don't feel like this is some weird out there. Oh, this is good. I don't look at it like a project. You've got to fix a broken player. He's a youngster who's just suffering mainly because United have changed the way we're going to play and approach things right in the early stages of his career, and he just isn't. We don't need wide players like him anymore. We need fullbacks and 10s, and that isn't what he is. So yeah, I think he's going to cook at Chelsea. For the money, anyway, comparatively, I'm not saying he's going to go in there and be Mo Salah, but for the money you're spending, I think he'll do very, very well as a squad, a first team squad player. I think he'll do output wise double a season what you got from Sancho last year as an example. He'll do double it. He's light years. He'll be so much better for you. He'll be light years better for you.
The thing is with Garnacho as well, we saw it when he first came into the team. He can turn up in big moments, like that Fulham game. He won us that Fulham game. Wolves near the end of, I think it's Ten Hag's first season. He won that game. Garnacho can turn up and win games in the big moments. Which, to be honest, if Chelsea's in like a 0-0 sort of game, they need one player to come off the bench, because Garnacho was always better coming on against tired legs. We saw it a lot, especially against Man City at Old Trafford. He created that goal for Rashford. But yeah, I think Garnacho coming off the bench, where Chelsea will play him coming against tired legs, I think it'll be very good business for Chelsea.
Listen, I think Garnacho is really good for Chelsea. I've turned my mind. I can't believe I've changed my mind. I can't believe I've been converted to say that, you know what, he could be good business. And I only say that because having watched Chelsea on that left wing, remember I said this the other day on the last show, the wingers are all the same for Chelsea on that left wing. And that includes Mudryk. I take Mudryk out of it because he did actually start doing it, but he just lacked the confidence. The one thing I say that Garnacho is different is that if Garnacho's right-footed, he's going to show you I'm going to go on that right foot. But if I'm going to go on that right foot, I'm cutting in and I'm shooting. And against low block teams, this is actually essential. Because one of the things that Chelsea suffered with last season, and actually for the last few seasons, is low block teams. And I always say the reason we have issues oftentimes with Chelsea is because we don't play the tiki-taka football necessarily. So you need to have somebody who can actually do something spectacular from a little bit outside of the range of the box, right? So someone for Garnacho is he's willing to take that. Listen, it's not about getting it every right all the time. It's you see, when you play football, it's not always getting it right all the time. It's not even that you always score. It's the fact that he's willing to do it. Which means that he has to only do it once or twice before you, Tom, in that defense, start asking questions like, okay, he's going to do it twice now. You might you got two choices: step off and say, "Well, we'll let him shoot." Well, one day you're gonna let him shoot, you're gonna score, and then the next time he says, "Okay, you know what? We have to close him down." Well, you close him down, he opens space for someone else. So as I said about what I watched Gittins is not aggressive enough for me going down a channel and taking that man inside just yet. He hasn't got that art just yet. If he was, it'll be a no-brainer, but he isn't there yet. So when you're playing football and you have someone like Gittins, yes, he can take you on the left wing and take it down that way, but he needs to be able to cut across the defender aggressively in order to make this work, and then your end product be good. But if you're not doing that, then you need someone who's going to play on that left wing who can either going to cut inside, they're willing to take a shot. They're willing to take shots. They're willing to cut in and do something, because that opens up the space. Now, if you play football, you know this. When people are watching football, they only think about the fact that he kicked the ball and went sky high. You don't realize that when you're playing defense, it does something to you as a defender, knowing that, okay, he's going to take a shot. How do we stop that player from doing that?
That requires the player who's cutting in and taking the shot to eventually be smart and cut in and play the pass. That's the part where you lose me on Garnacho as a player in this. If that's what you want to do, have him stand on the left, pick up the ball, drive at the man, cut inside, and then that creates space and he's either going to shoot or pass. I just think he's going to make the wrong decision every time.
Tom, you said it was a very simple game, so it's a very simple thing. Or he doesn't have to make the sexiest pass. No one's asking you to make a sexy pass into the defense. He's not that kind of player, right? There are many players like that.
But I just think
it's a simple pass. If you are on left wing, let's talk football. Let's not talk the screen stuff. Let's talk real football.
Yeah.
If you're on the left wing and you cut in, Garnacho does not need to play a sexy pass into the box. He only needs to open up space for the defenders to come towards him and pass it even sideways. Now, I'm sure he can do that. He's a footballer. He can do that. It just requires a little sideways pass. We've got Caicedo there. I better take a shot. Maybe you can play another pass. Maybe they can pass it into the right wing. Whichever way, it opens up the space. So when someone is doing that, right, it changes the way that the team will play. I'm not saying that he's going to always play. I'm saying to you that he offers something completely different that at the moment on that left wing, we do not have. We actually don't have that.
But then, to play devil's advocate with that, you're saying you need this against low blocks. If you're doing this against low blocks where you want him to run and then cut inside and then lay it back off, what he's going to do when he cuts inside and play the simple pass sideways is he's going to, the defender that you think is going to get dragged out will more often than not pass him to the midfielder that's ahead of him and go, you can deal with him then. And I'm going to sit there to make sure that overlap from the left back can't get through. My thing with Garnacho as a footballer, but then that's point because Garnacho as a footballer is flawed. Garnacho as a footballer for me makes the wrong decision more often than not. I think
again when you say
he makes the wrong decision. He needs to he passes when he needs to shoot. He shoots when he needs to pass.
Okay. That's hang on though. What I was saying this, he's got flaws to his game. That's why he's a 40 to 45 million pound first team squad member. He isn't, again, what are 21 turning 22-year-old top wingers in the world going to cost you again now that they're 80, 90, 100 plus million. So one thing that's important is we had Aaron on Straight Facts last week, 2 weeks ago, and he was listing the Arsenal flops versus hits. And I was just trying to make sure, and I was asking this because viewers can get confused. He'll just go, no, I'm going to say where I think they're hits or they're flops. And I just wanted to ascertain whether he judges them all on the same, by the same standards, or whether or not he compartmentalizes it. So that's a squad player, that's a backup goalkeeper, that's a first team player, that's a star signing. I'll say hit or flop, but know that I'm categorizing them into that section. And I think it's easier for people to digest because you can be a backup player and a flop. Equally, some backups can come in and do a really good job. They're not setting the world alight. They're not getting nominated for Ballon d'Ors, but they've done a really good job for their price point and their squad status. And I think that's really important to remember with Garnacho. Chelsea are not buying him to be the star of their team. They're not dropping 120 million pound on him. They're dropping around 40 million, which is going to be 15 to 20 to 25 to 30 below what you've seen the starters, the Alangas, the Mbumos, etc. go for. So the price point tells you that he's there is a flaw to his game, absolutely. On making the wrong decisions, where I'll defend him, along with defending the other United players that are leaving, like Scott McTominay, that's now just been nominated for the Ballon d'Or, and you'd have all said he was flawed and wouldn't work, is that when you join a team that's better organized and a club that isn't toxic, because I think we're fixing that at the club now, but he was part of that and involved in it. And I wouldn't blame him for that. The same as I never blamed Pogba. I never blamed Lingard. I never blamed Fellaini all those years ago. There was a problem at the club. You remove him from that and put him in a better environment, in a team that makes less mistakes, in a team that's more organized and suits the way he plays. You are going to get bad decisions from him, but you get that from all players. Are you going to get more bad decisions from him compared to, say, a Mo Salah? Yes, I believe that Mo Salah is a superior player. But for 40 million, will he score? Will he assist a fair amount of goals each game? Yeah, and this guy this season for Chelsea across all comps will win them, as in terms of winning goal, at least 3 matches, which is a lot, by the way, to get that amount of winners. He'll win them 2 or 3 games from being a goal scorer. He'll come on for the last 20 minutes of games when they need someone to start shooting because they need a goal, and he's going to end up being someone that delivers. And over the course of 2 or 3 seasons, he is going to be worth that money. And we have to remember, this ain't 45 million 10 years ago when that was buying you world-class players. We're in 2025. 30 to 40. Broja just got sold for 20, 25 million. Mm-hmm. Let's put this in. We have to put that context in on this. The price point is really, really important here. You know, Alanga, that most people go as a good player, went for 55 million. Mbumo, who is one of the closest things in the league you can get to Mo Salah, is 65 million. Mo Salah is, because of the commerciality as well, that's an 85 million pound player in his 30s. So I think we have to look at this. It's like the Šeško thing. People are like, oh, is Šeško going to do what Isak did? Well, Isak's valued at 150 million. Šeško just gone on for 66 million. They're not even valued in the same price range. So that has to play a part, in my view. The way we judge a 100 million pound player, got to be a lot of pressure on him. He's 100 million pound. Yet when a player's 40 million, we're like, it's just shit. He's just a squad player, isn't he? Yes, that's why he's not a 100 million pound player. So yeah, I think he'll do well personally. I think he'll do well.
I just look at the options that Chelsea have, and you've just bought Bino Gittins, who I think what you're describing, Garnacho, I think Bino Gittins can do. You look at Pedro Neto, who can play out on the left, and then that gives you your option of the quick man who can run down the line and put crosses in if you ever need that. And I don't know what's going on with young tidy George in terms of him, but I always thought he looked quite good when he played, and I thought he was going to be one that you gave a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to and tried to bring through over the next couple of years. Maybe a Garnacho goes into Chelsea and he figures it all out, but I've just got to judge off what I've seen so far. I feel his decision making is very poor in big moments, in the key decisive points. And I just look at what you've got in the squad, and I don't see how he's necessarily an improvement on what you've got in the squad. I feel that money could be put elsewhere.
He's not an improvement on the squad, but the thing is, he's that young. He's only turned 21. You got to think he's been around this shitty Man United squad. Like, let's be honest, like, shitters surround themselves with more shit. And what's he going to be doing? Looking at flipping Rashford that's going out to like Germany and his clubs or whatever, or he's going to be now surrounded by players that are wanting to win, and he's going to develop and get better. I think don't judge him so much on where he is right now. I think he's going to develop a lot over the coming years. And 50 million, I don't think it's a bad price for him. He's still got a decent ceiling to go.
Adding on to that Garnacho point, a lot of since he's been in United, he's had problems with managers. Like, look at the end with Ten Hag, at the start of Amorim. But the whole reason he's been under scrutiny is because United haven't had a consistent manager and consistent squad, basically. So when he's around a more solidified era like Maresca at Chelsea, where Maresca is staying for probably a while, if we're being honest, he'll be able to, I think, develop, because at United he's been told to do a lot of different things, because from Ten Hag he was told to be a left winger, cut inside, whatever. When Amorim came in, he was told he was doing a completely different job. It's the point where that's the thing that's happened with a lot of Man United players as well. They're told to do different jobs. It was the same point we made with Baleba and and Mania and stuff. But like,
Yeah.
if he was to go to Chelsea, he'd have a set role, set position. This is, and Marissa saying, "This is what I want from you." So I think it'll be a good deal with Chelsea, and also Garnacho will be. He'll be. I don't think he won't be a big issue at Chelsea for that sort of area.
No, I agree. Brickman said that these Chelsea representatives have lost the plot on Garbacho. Scored a goal less, but by a top centre back. Score is what Brickman says here. Marv says, Terry, the signings this window have been about the club first, not wages. I don't feel Donnarumma is that way. He seems to be about the player first. Well, that's about us assessing, because Donnarumma is not asking PSG for astronomical money. He's asking for between 160 and 190,000 pound a week. He is, listen, the stats for him don't look particularly great. I've literally seen all these Chelsea fans doing this sort of the spider graphs, and oh my God, Sancho's a lot better than him. But you've also got to understand, this is why these stats can be flawed. Well, PSG in their own league, look how much they have the ball compared to their opponents. So yeah, he isn't making as many passes. He's not doing as many interceptions and sweeper keeper actions in a game, because they're just games where they've got 80% of the ball and he ain't fucking doing anything. He's standing there with nothing to do. He might pull off one save in the game, and it's like, oh, he's not better. You get that with the defender stats. You see where people put the Premier League comparisons. Oh my God, look, Van Dijk's only made 10 clearances this season. Ben Mee's made 47. He's much better. Well, that's because he's defending more. I don't like those kind of things. Is he about the player first? Well, I trust the people making our football decisions. If they're sitting down with him, they're debating with him, they're talking to him, and he only cares about the money and bonuses and when the money's going to go up, when the money goes down, and it's not about the team and the projects and how we're trying to play football and what we're looking to do, then we walk away from it. Then, yeah, I would agree. And let's see what we do. I think we'll make the right decision. Gents, I want to thank you all very much for coming on. It means a great deal to me, always on the Top 6 show. We're back tomorrow morning, myself and Mark Goldbridge at 11 a.m. for hot takes. We've got some amazing content to react to tomorrow, so make sure you're back with us 11 a.m. Then this is going to redirect you to Footy Judge Mode's channel. He's going to be live now. I'm also live at around 7 p.m. on Staffy's channel. I have no idea what we're talking about, so get yourselves over there as well if you want to go check that out. Boys, thank you all very much for coming on. I appreciate it massively. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.